The Dementialand Podcast presents a Marlowe Mystery starring Albert Cristy, the world's famous crime detective. Marlowe, the tough, cynical private detective, interrogates Violet in an attempt that Violet will be able to identify her daughter out of a line of suspects. And now, the Dementialand Podcast brings you tonight's exciting story, The Interrogation, Episode 21. Philip Marlowe entered the interrogation room at 11 o'clock on a morning in mid-October. It was quiet, the air was stale and lay in the corners, slouched against the concrete wall like a wet dog void of richly breeding. One huge window stripped down of any outside light dominated the room. Marlowe pulled out a chair and offered Violet a seat. The room was black like the inside of Cicero Theater on Cermak Avenue during the showing of The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Violet had a sitting height of 4 feet and 2 inches on tippy toes. Her hair was snow white under a wide-brimmed black hat with a bird-caged veil that partially covered her face. Choker pearls hung around her open neck. She believed Jewish people made the best doctors and the best lawyers, a thought that came into the front of her head, suggesting she might need one.
Mrs. Violet, we're here to get down to the bottom of this. I'm going to make this as easy as I can, so don't be nervous or scared. My partner will bring in a line of suspects in this next room. This is a double-pane soundproof glass. You will be able to see the suspects, but they will not be able to see or hear you. Their voices will be funneled through these 2 speakers on either side of the window. Any questions?
Violet was unsure of why she was brought into the station.
Alrighty then, let's begin.
Marlowe walked toward the window. To the left was a steel, bulky intercom box. He pressed down on the intercom's button and spoke into the aperture, which made his words bigger in the adjoining room.
Bring in the suspects.
Marlowe was a man in the late 40s, from the late 40s, a wisecracking detective. He wore black pants, a white shirt, and a thin, tired tie. He liked liquor, women, and working alone. As the uniformed guard escorted 5 suspects into the adjoining room, Marlowe moved closer to Violet, close enough for Violet to smell his Old Spice and the pastrami he had for lunch. The suspects walked in a single file onto the narrow platform. When they got to the end, they made a 45 and faced their reflection. Around their necks, thin chains held white cards with black numbers, 1 through 5. The cards covered their breasts, well, some of their breasts. 5 suspects also carried small pieces of paper at their side.
Violet, I want you to look at each one of these women and tell me if any of them look familiar to you. Take your time.
Well, they all look so cute, but I'm not sure. Do I know them?
That's why we're here, ma'am. Look at each girl carefully. I need your full cooperation right now. Can you identify any of these ladies? Can any one of these suspects be your daughter?
Violet stayed calm. Her hands were comfortable, folding on each other and holding tightly to her purse. They were not going anywhere. Under the weight of her broken, wounded memory was a bright, strong woman, and she knew it.
Well, I do like number 2.
Marlowe moved back into the intercom and spoke into the voice box.
Number 2, step forward and read what's on the paper my partner gave you.
Hello, Mother. I'm home. My flight was delayed, and I'm absolutely starving. Do you have any cabbage rolls?
Is this mic on? Mr. Marlowe, I can read this much better. See, I have experience. I go to the Y every Friday for their improv class, and I have a lot of passion for this character. See, I feel her pain.
Violet's memory was out of her hands, and now a police matter. Her head accepted being the integral part of this investigation, working side by side with Marlowe.
That one, maybe the first girl over there. She's so pretty. I like what she's wearing. Such a cute outfit.
Look at each one very carefully. Don't rush them to make decisions unless you're sure. We don't want to make any mistakes. We're dealing with real people here.
Violet's eyes grew weaker behind her glasses. They were working far beyond her continued attempts to sort through the faded pictures of her past and match them to the suspects in front of her. Marlowe stared at the little woman, looking for some affirming reaction. He's been in the interrogation business for a long time. He knows what to look for.
I'm going to ask you again. I need you to concentrate now. Do any of these suspects look familiar?
Well, number 5 looks familiar. Maybe it's the shoes. I think I have a pair of shoes just like those.
Number 5, step forward and read what's on the card.
Suspect number 5, a slim woman wearing turquoise Sergio Rossi heels, a simple crop top, and a god-awful sequin short skirt that glittered in the light's reflection. She was a working girl. When she moved forward, she began to read the words from the card.
Hi, Mom. I'm home. My flight was delayed. I'm hungry. I mean starving. Oh, shit. Can I just start all over again? I know I can do better. It's this damn light that's shining in my eyes. I can't even read anything on this damn sheet of paper.
She dropped the paper to her thigh and looked into the defeated reflection of herself in the two-way mirrored window. Marlowe rests one hand on Violet's chair and the other on the table. He continued the interrogation.
Or maybe it's that one over there, the first girl over there. Something familiar about that one. I like her style. Would you happen to know if my husband was black?
I ask the questions here. Look at these girls carefully, and just take number 1 out of your head. She's not your daughter.
Violet squeezed her eyes for a closer look at all the suspects, waiting for a spark, a flash, a match. Violet was trying so hard to make out if she knew anything. She would have to rely on her charm and inspiration of the moment.
So, Mr. Marlowe, what do you think of number 3? Now, if I were a gambling woman, which I'm not, or am I? Well, if I was, I'd put all my cookies on number 1.
Gambling offenses is not my concern right now. Forget about number 1. You're getting on my nerves, lady. Stop toying with me. We're serious here at the station. Just pick the one that looks most like your daughter.
Marlowe presses again, pinched with agitation. He now treated her like the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
Well, if I have to pick one from my own, I'll pick number 4. She looks like she'd be a very nice one. Okay, she can be my daughter. It's the shoes. I'll take number 1. Are we done? Can I go home now?
Violet's head floated above her. She wanted to get away from Marlowe.
Well, we're done here.
Not so fast, Missy.
I don't like your manners, Mr. Marlowe.
And I'm not crazy about yours. I don't mind if you don't like my manners. I don't like them myself. I grieve over them on long winter nights.
Violet sat back in her chair and changed the direction of the conversation. She traveled to a place where she was comfortable, in control, and safe. She silently stared into the windowed suspects and confidently looked back at Mr. Marlowe.
I'd like to buy a vowel.